is Amuda Kannike Abubakar. I represent Ilorin East, Ilorin South Federal Constituency of Kwara State. Mr. Speaker, it is paradoxical that agriculture, that was the pioneer sector that developed the economy of this country, is down there now in the rating of what it contributes to the GDP of this nation. In the 60s, agriculture was contributing about 60% to our GDP. As far back as 2012, this went down as low as 30%, and it slides down further every subsequent year. It is the real reason why we have found ourselves in this situation. We all know that the situation with the global oil market is what has caught up with us. The mistake of this nation, and I dare say the mistake of our past leaders, is that we did not sustain agriculture, and we did not move agriculture from subsistence level to commercial level. Now, we don't want to blame people. We are in a situation right now. We must diversify this economy. Agriculture still remains the numero uno option to where we are right now. So, Mr. Speaker, colleagues, I want to speak to agriculture. The problem with agriculture in this nation was well elucidated by the Honorable Minister when he came. He talked about a lot of things, but the most important thing that he did not talk about, and we must look at in agriculture, is the fact that as a nation, we must do a geochemical analysis of our peripheral soil. The basic ingredient in agriculture is the soil we have. Any nation that is serious about agriculture must have a mapping that is well researched of the profile of the nutrients across the geopolitical zones. What this does for us is that, one, it tells us the crops that will do well in these geopolitical zones. Two, it will tell us the necessary fertilizer protocol that will be needed to augment the deficits in the nutrient profile of the soil in these geopolitical zones. We need to have that as a nation. So I think that is one important tool that the Ministry of Agriculture must liaise with the relevant ministry, maybe environment, where the expertise domiciles, so that they can have a mapping of the geochemical analysis of our soil. The next thing is we have an issue which the minister rightly said about extension services. He talked about the ratio, that the ratio of extension service is one extension worker to 10,000 farmers. I'm even more concerned that even the 1 to 10,000 ratio, we have extension workers who are obsolete in knowledge. That further compromises the situation. They have not been retrained. The last time most of these extension workers had any training at all was probably decades ago. So what they keep selling really is obsolete ideas in farming. So we need to first of all even retrain our very small number of extension workers so that they can be in tune with contemporary skills in modern agriculture that can galvanize us into very successful commercial farming. Then we can now increase the numbers so that the ratio will not be that small. Because these extension workers are the presumed change agents. And if you don't send the well-skilled change agents in their right number to the field, there won't be any change at all. And we so much need this agricultural change to galvanize this economy. The next thing we must talk to under agriculture is agri financing. This is a serious mitigant against our diversification of our economy. Agri financing, right now, the commercial banks in this nation are just doing a bare 3 to 4% of their loan portfolio, giving it to agriculture. Agriculture, the industry that employs 60% of Nigerians and above, is benefiting only 3 to 4% of the loan portfolio of commercial banks. And I dare say that these commercial banks do not even have, some of them do not have the agric desk. If you don't have a functional agric desk and you don't understand agriculture, then tell me, how do you fund agriculture? So if you have an agric desk who does not understand the dynamics and the technicalities of agriculture and sees agriculture as risky and adopts the risk-averse protocol and run to buying and selling and oil and gas industry, then as a nation, we are just paying lip service. We are not ready to diversify this economy. What I believe the government must do is that they must mandate the banks to lend a minimum of their loan portfolio, say 25% of their loan portfolio, to finance agriculture. And they must force them to all set up agric desk. And they must be effectively monitored that they apply the money appropriately, and where they err, the CBN must sanction them. Then we must isolate the funding. Somebody talked about land clearing and money to acquire lands, particularly in places where you don't have traditionally owned lands. In other climes, you have banks that fund only land acquisition, because land is a major asset and a very, very capital-intensive acquisition in agriculture. So you must have a bank that will fund land acquisition, and that kind of loan must be a long-term loan of, say, 20, 30 years with very single digits. So we need to put that straight for us to be able to succeed. Then the other problem that we must talk to is that a lot of people talked about the commodity bank and everything, commodity market and board. What we need to ensure that we have a successful diversification in agriculture is to have an off-taker-driven system where the farmers will know the buyers of their finished products and there is a guaranteed market. If we don't have guaranteed market that will off-take the produce of our farmers, there will be no confidence in investing in agriculture. So what we will have is this tipsy-toffy situation that we experience. This year, there's a bumper harvest in soya beans, and there's a lot of loss. People don't have market. Next year, the farmers run away from soya beans to maize that sold last year. And that doesn't help us. But if you have an off-taker-driven program where you know that as a farmer, either for your produce or your animal produce, you have somebody who has committed and you have agreed on pricing, it encourages you to delve into that production and sell to the assured market. We talk a lot in this country, but we don't drive how to solve these problems. We are all experts in analyzing the problems, but we are not strategic about how to modulate measurable deliverables. We need to break down our problems and make them measurable deliverables and take the first problems, solve them, go to the next problems, solve them until we are able to, crystallize the revolution in agriculture and other diversification of the economy. So, colleagues, Your Excellency, the Speaker, we need to take deliberate steps to diversify into agriculture. The other thing I want to talk about that I mentioned when the minister was there is that of tourism. Again, we must have a tourism map in this country. We must develop tourism sites to, tourism attractions. And what we must do is develop them into products that you can sell to private sector development. I want to re-echo that. I said it when the minister was there, and that is the only way tourism can also be something that is a diversification of our economy. If we don't take these steps as quickly as possible, we're going to have the problems of the layoffs of people in banks and in other real sector. It's not just the banks that are laying off. The producers that depend on import of raw materials are also laying off. So we need to address these problems in the interest of this nation and the interest of our tomorrow. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.